Text.
All right, Chairwoman, the meeting is now recorded.
Yeah, can we record? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Good morning, and is it recording? Okay, I didn't see the bar. Okay, it is 10:07. Good morning, Friday, June 10. This is the June meeting of the St. Louis County Human Relations Commission. Let me first establish a quorum and call the roll. Let's see, we know we are missing Commissioner Pellegrini has a class conflict, and Commissioner Ahmad is out of the country. So besides that, Commissioner DeBeer,
Here, present.
Commissioner Hall,
Present.
Commissioner James,
Present.
and who am I missing otherwise? I guess that's about everybody. I'd like to recognize, so let's see, right? So we have, and we have in the room as well, Mr. Murdoch, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Ms. Person from his staff, Portia Britt, representing the St. Louis County Counselor's Office, liaison to the board, liaison for the boards and commissions for St. Louis County, Mr. Nelson, and I think we have two attendees. Oh, all right. Hey, Caroline looks like she's on the attendees, so I think she's going to move over to the participants side of things.
Panelists.
There she comes. Commissioner Fan, good morning. Well, it looks like she's in. So we will, but she's muted. Okay. Good morning. Okay, so let us first approve the previous meeting minutes. Mr. Nelson had sent out the minutes from the last two meetings, March 11. I had indicated there was one correction, just a minor typo. Did anybody have any comments about the minutes of March 11? If not, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 11?
Jay gives a motion to approve.
Any second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the meetings from March 11 are approved. Again, the minutes from April 8th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 8th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 8th.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes, any changes or anything like that? Hearing nothing, the meeting minutes from April 8th are approved. There are no specific communications on new business. Next on the agenda, a general overview of the HRC. This comes as a direct request, and I appreciate it, from Commissioner James, who really wanted, and rightly so, a more formal background or orientation introduction. And so I want to thank Mr. Nelson J. for putting this together. It's not, hopefully, look, anybody on this presentation, I'll start it, but anybody who wants to jump in on anything they have, please do so, because I'm hoping this is more of a discussion learning, certainly towards the end piece with some of the suggestions that have been noted as possibilities for future activity. So Jay, just next slide, we'll get started. So this is who we currently have. We have 3 vacant seats. I am not aware right now of who is in the pipeline. I know that we have talked about a variety of different people who might fill those seats, representing different lenses that currently aren't included lots of possibilities there. I'm not sure of the process, so I'll sort of defer to the county executive's office for a status on any of that, um, Jay, can I ask if members do have people that they feel would be appropriate for these vacant seats? What would you like to see them do?
So currently we were looking at 3 individuals for the vacant seats. One of them was not allowed to do so due to their employment, and the other, there's some issues there that we're still trying to work through before moving forward with that appointment. So that last person is contingent based off the other person. We wanted to try to move the 2 appointments at the same time and not come back around because the appointments to the Human Relations Commission does require council approval. So we want to try to get those members on at the same time.
And just remind me, when is the council in recess?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I can share that they did just pass 15 of the current appointees. Some of them have been on the council agenda as early as the beginning of this year. So it is quite a process and time to get them across the finish line.
Well, and my understanding is that the chairwoman would really prefer that she have a group of people that she can kind of talk to all at one time before.
That's correct.
Kind of do it in a block, and I get that. Okay, we will wait and
I have
watch
a
that.
question.
Yeah.
This is Dwayne. Just wondering if there's any diversity or equity considerations when we appoint members. Like, do we look at diverse backgrounds, diverse geography, ages, as well, just to make sure that we're ensuring a diverse commission, and then looking at all different types of diversity backgrounds as well.
Yes, sir. That is currently what we are looking for in the last 3 seats here on this commission. One of the members is a female. We're also looking for African American male, and then there's another male who is considered youth that we're also looking at.
And I don't think we're limited. Like for instance, if we wanted, we could probably apply to have an advisory group that might be along, or to partner formally with a group like the Youth Advisory Council, the new council, which might inform us differently, or any of the other boards and commissions. I don't think there's anything stopping us from having some engagement that way if the agenda so drove it. Okay, next slide. Yeah.
Am I off mute?
No, I got you, Caroline. Go ahead.
Oh,
Continue.
okay. I know that at one point we were looking at having someone from the Hispanic, Latina community. Is that no longer the case?
Yes, Commissioner Fan. So that is the individual whose employer did not get permission for him to take the appointment. So we are back and looking for that member from that demographic to fill a seat. So.
Okay, next slide.
I think the Reverend has something to say.
Yeah, Chairwoman?
Oh, Jay, hi.
Yeah.
Sure, go
Hi.
ahead.
So we had a woman from the LGBTQ plus community. She's still interested. Happy to reach out to her. She just needed some help completing I think it was the police review.
Commissioner, I'm happy to reach out. If you send me the contact information, I'll be more than happy to reach out and give
Okay,
assistance.
will do. Thank you.
Appreciate this definition, Jay. Thank you. I think it also jives with the general mission statement in the commission's charter. I don't know if anybody has any conversation or, in the old days, we used to have not a discussion, but We always used to, there was a difference between human rights and human relations. And I think some of the commissions around the state are referred to as commissions on human rights. And this has always been a commission on human relations. So, next slide. So thank you, Jay, for all of the work you do as the staff liaison. And I would just say, if you have things that are more technical and administrative in that regard, Jay's the person to be in touch with. And then the chair and vice chair, I think, are basically the same in responsibility. I should say that I am not available for, and this is, I suppose, a point of business, but I'll say it now. I'm not available for the July 8 meeting. We can either go ahead with that meeting or in my absence and just let the vice chair staff it, or change it as you want. I'll let you guys, at the end of the meeting, when we look at that, I'll let you guys make that decision. Yeah, sorry, next slide. So this is the establishing language of the St. Louis County ordinances 714.010. And that 11 members, by the way, for I don't know where Cindy is today. Did you hear from Commissioner Johnson, Jay?
I did not.
Me neither. For Dwayne, and just so you know, for a long time, the enabling language of this statute was 9. And when Dr. Page came into office, maybe even been a little bit before, we started asking for 11 because we really felt 9 wasn't enough. It needed to be a little bit broader. And so that's where the new language came in, certainly in the last year and a half, to increase the number of commissioners to 11.
Quick question about the language. Does it say that folks have to be citizens or residents of St. Louis County? Because citizen, I think, implies, right, the whole like naturalized or US born versus, yeah.
Well, if that's the language, though, I think for all of the boards and commissions, I would check that, but I think you have to be, one of the requirements is you have to be a resident of the county to serve.
That is correct.
I am just asking if, yeah, I don't know how narrowly folks are interpreting it, i.e., do people have to be citizens versus residents? There is a difference. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for my purposes, I wouldn't need them to be citizens, but that's just me. I don't know if there's a more narrow approach from the broader commission and board's perspective, Jay?
Yeah, so some of the ordinance language is defined as resident. In the Human Relations Commission, as Commissioner Fan just pointed out, it's defined as citizen of St. Louis County. And then some of the ordinance, it's as clear as to say the metropolitan area, are that a residency is not required. So different ordinances state different requirements depending on who wrote the language.
So just
Yeah.
to note, something I would ask us to look at if, we ever undergo a reexamination of the charter language is particularly for a commission such as this, but I guess for all commissions, it, I think that um, our residents of St. Louis County who are not yet citizens or who are ineligible to be citizens represent a very valuable viewpoint that I would encourage to be seeded throughout various boards and commissions. Thanks.
Good
I would
idea.
agree with that. I think language matters, and I think consistency matters as well. So if there's no other reason, I think it should be consistent across the board, and I would be in favor of resident with that for the reasons just given.
Being that we have someone on here from the county counselor's office, it's just not an appropriate time for them to ask their input on this if they have some knowledge of whether or not we can go back and forth with using the term of citizen versus resident.
Hey everybody, I'm certainly happy to look into this. I do think I would have to look at the language from the enacting statute to see what language was used there, because if excuse me, if that is the language that was used by the county council, then you would have to try to get an amendment from the council for that language. But like I said, I'm happy to look into this and report back to you all with what I find out.
Thank you. That'll be much appreciated. We got to make sure we use the resource that we have on here now that they are on our calls. So I don't think that would be something that we can just change on our own or begin to go forth with just understanding as a whole, saying yes, we should use the term citizen, or yes, we should use the term resident, when we could potentially be doing it wrong the entire time. So thank you for looking into that, and we'll look forward to hearing back from you.
Of course.
Go ahead, Jay, you can go forward. So, I mean, this is basic expectations. I think this is broadly across the county. I don't think there's anything in here unless anybody has any specific questions. I'm happy to take any thoughts, or if anybody has any questions or thoughts about these basic expectations.
I think that this is actually good with showing this and kind of reminding some of us commissioners that's been on here for a while. So even if we look at, and it's always good to be reminded, but even if we look at some of this of saying, hey, we should be expected to, or it should be expected to know that we're going to spend a certain amount of hours on work that comes to the commission. And so it would just be a friendly reminder as we're talking about notes, as we're talking about letters that are on here, bills, whatever it is that we want to make a comment on, that everybody is reading those bills and everybody is paying attention to what is happening, because while those ahead of us, or whether it be people from administration or council or whomever, may not see the significance or the importance within this commission does have quite a bit of power and leeway to do some things that many of us may not be aware of. So in saying such, it's very important to know that we got to put the work in. It's not good to just have a seat here as a commissioner, especially when it's taking so long for other people to even be appointed as a commissioner. It's very important for us, our limited number of people now, to do what it is that we're supposed to do and take this job quite seriously.
I'm curious, following what Vice Chair Hall has said, how many folks listen to the council meetings every Tuesday night?
I personally listen to them quite often. I won't say every Tuesday, but I actually attend some. So
Yeah, I would say often. I wouldn't say every.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting how often some of their issues do tip into our sort of on our broader radar.
So I do appreciate these expectations, especially like number 3, significant number of hours each month, and then attend functions throughout the community to maintain strong links with individuals. And so that's understood as a commission member, but just seeing it in print and just being reminded. And then I would encourage us to see exactly what those functions are that we could attend, should attend, or just make sure the communication is across the board so we are knowledgeable that someone is attending, or at least some report out of that information. And then talking about duties that will be required between meetings. So significant number means, again, language matters to me. So significant number means more than just reading the board and the minutes and all that kind of stuff. It's that additional stuff, requirements and events and discussions that we just need to make sure that we're doing. So we're not just sitting on the commission just to sit on the commission.
Yeah. The note number 6 about functions, Hey, Kenny, could I ask you from the DE&I perspective, since there are going to be these new events coming out of your office, like the called Wednesday, Welcoming Wednesdays?
Okay, Wonderful Wednesday is a business
Wonderful,
show.
sorry, Wonderful Wednesday. So so can you just share a little bit about what that's going to be, and maybe there's a way to create some sort of schedule that would include commission members on an email list so that they see those flyers and stuff like that?
Oh, well, if you want to know what the Wonderful Wednesdays business showcase is, every one Wednesday a month, our Parks Department in St. Louis County puts on what's called a Wonderful Wednesdays, and they have hot dogs and sometimes music, and a lot of employees in the afternoon from I think 11:30 to 1 come out and eat and have a rest moment, but also members from the Clayton community and people come around and get a cheap hot dog price and some food and hear some music for a little bit. What we've started to do in the business showcase during the Wonderful Wednesdays is we put out 6 tables, and we're letting different business incubators that have been through the UMSL business incubator of DEI incubator, this very first one, and they're going to showcase some of their businesses and what they do in the community. Now, we won't always be using the UMSL business incubator. We're looking at other local incubators, university-based incubators, to try and get more showcased businesses that have been through that process and just show what kind of wares and products and goods that local people are selling. So we concentrate on a few things. One, that these businesses kind of fit in diversity, equity, inclusion, that we're really looking for uh, minority-owned businesses or female-led businesses and things like that. But if the business is a good business to showcase, we'll still showcase it. But the second thing that's important to know about these events is that it's only going on every Wednesday, but we plan to do it for this whole session run. So throughout this summer, we plan to be showcasing businesses every Wonderful Wednesdays. So we're looking for more businesses to vet and see if they're businesses we want to showcase. So if any board members know of some interesting businesses for us to look at, just send them my way and I'll definitely look at them.
Chairwoman,
Sorry, go
I
ahead, Jay.
will I will add, as it was pretty much already stated, it's also a great opportunity for the commissioners to come because most of the people who attend are county employees. So it's a great opportunity to hear directly from county employees as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, all the folks on this call are involved in community, and to the extent that there are issues that come up in the broader community areas around, whether it's human relationships or broad diversity, inclusion type conversations, if there's a way for us to be included, or if there's a need for us to be included, the only way we're going to find out about that is if you tell us. So again, Jay gets to be the sort of the hub of the information flow. And if there's something that needs to be, Jay Nelson, sorry, Jay DeVere, Jay Nelson is the information hub. So don't hesitate to share stuff that you think we should be putting on our agenda just to learn about.
Well, Wonderful Wendy's is open to everyone, so feel free to come on down. Our next one is on the 14th, and it's from 11:30 to 1. So please come by, talk to some county employees, talk to some people locally, and just kind of get the feel for the place.
Okay, next slide.
Sorry, quick question. Which park is this? Is it rotating
Oh.
parks?
Oh no,
It's
it's always going to be in Memorial Park, which is right at 41 South Central. It's that circle right outside the county hub building. Sometimes, if I don't know if y'all saw the Ukraine thing, we wore flags, we put flags in the circle for support of Ukraine. But it's that circle right by 41 South Central, where the county hub is.
And you can park and enter on the Merrimack South Merrimack side too. That's the other.
Correct.
That's the
There's
other
parking
street.
there's metered parking on the street, but there's also if you have interest in the county building, there's parking right there for the county building. But there's, I think, around the corner there's some non-metered parking, but I'm not positive on that.
Okay, next slide, Jay. So this is the 0.030. This is language we actually changed from the original charter language because it was completely out of date. It was not gender neutral. I just didn't like the word tolerance, so we took that out. But I think we have everything in here that had been contemplated by changes in the law and also in the last couple of years, some legislation that had come out of the council. Any questions or thoughts about that language?
No questions or anything, but I mean, it's good once again for people to actually know this. Do we have, when people are confirmed, do we give them an actual packet or do we have some even type of orientation and say, hey, this is what your duties are? While I know that we can always go back and look at the charter, but do we actually give that to new commission members?
So, Vice Chair Hall, we do now provide welcome packets to appointed members once they receive council approval. And in that welcome packet, we provide them with their appointment letter. We provide them with the conflict of interest statements, the Missouri Sunshine Law requirements, and we also provide them with their board information, as well as the staff liaisons and are the different directors or individuals that they'll be engaging with on those different boards or commissions. From there, it's the responsibilities of the different staff liaisons or departments or organizations to train and get those commission members brought up to speed fully.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea, and that probably sounds like something we lacked on since with all of the new commission members that were just appointed within the last several months. So thank you.
Next slide. And this is the continuing 030. You know, it's interesting, just from a legal perspective, the word shall, when you read it in a law, is meant to be mandatory, as opposed to the word may. And I'm not sure why the folks wrote this way. I think what I'm finding is this is true of a lot of the ordinances that they have shall in it. And I think they were written without really an understanding. And so there's this, just one of the things I've noticed. And I think in some ways, rather than shall, it's may for us. I mean, we may advise the county executive, we should advise the county executive when called upon, the county council and other officers, or if there are things that go on. Certainly there are, I mean, there are things we can do, there are things we could do, there are things we should do. But maybe it's just, again, a matter of language from where I see it. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about this.
I've always interpreted shall to be the same thing, that it's a must. And so if it's still written in the county ordinances in this way, then it's saying that our commission shall advise the county executive and the council. So that is a duty of ours that we must continue to do or start doing if we have not done it thus far. So,
any other thoughts? Okay, next slide, please. Any comments or thoughts about this language? Any questions about it?
I don't have any. For those that are not on here and some that may not have enough time because we do. It's at 10:36 now. We're usually on here for an hour. So if there are some people that need a little bit more time to read this and understand what it is that they are reading, and for those who are not on the call right now, will this be shared, this actual PowerPoint with all the commission members?
Yes, Vice Chair Hall, the PowerPoint was provided in the agenda that was sent out. It's also publicly available for today's meeting for the public to see and review as well.
And
Perfect. Thank you again, Jay. You're
it's
on
on the
it.
county, it's on the commission's website and also available within the ordinances of the county. People want to go online. Next slide. And so I appreciate that Jay has pulled together some ideas that we could look at for things that, I mean, we tend to have looked at things from a more reactive perspective, but you can look at things from a government perspective, research and data. Well, although the research and data collection, I guess, in the context of what Mr. Murdoch will share on the equity study, that is something that we have been doing, and appreciate the commissioners who've come to those sessions, those listening sessions, so that we can put that together and assist Mr. Murdoch in putting that together. And
So really the next few slides are just pretty much best practices in each category, as the chairwoman said, from government, criminal justice, and it just continues to just give the commissioners some ideas of how the commission can act in their roles in those different areas. As this one is hate crime, and it continues. So those will be the ending of the slides, just to give commissioners some ideas of what they could be doing or looking at as commission members in those different areas.
on the hate crime issue specifically, I still staff the U.S. Attorney's Hate Crimes Task Force, at least for a little while yet. Those are quarterly meetings. If Commissioner Fan has been on that task force for a while, if you want to be included in that, on the hate crime issue uniquely, let me know, and I will just invite you to those meetings. And sometimes the information that comes out in between those meetings, if you're interested in the hate crime issue uniquely. And I think some of these, like the business piece, economic development, maybe there are ways that we partner with or join with the chambers, or St. Louis Economic Development Partnership is looking at some of these issues. The workforce development folks in the county might also be a good partner for some of this. There's no reason why we have to do this all alone and create it. Some of this work is already ongoing, and we could be effective in supporting it. And I think that's the close of that. And thank you, Jay. I appreciate your pulling that together. Any follow-up thoughts? Okay. 4.2 on the agenda also has discussion on the role of the commission. How does that, the information shared, just now, help you think of your impact and your role on this commission, how you'd want to see it be different, how you'd want to see it be the same? Anybody who wants to weigh in now can do that, or we can just keep this as a continuing opportunity to talk about this as long as you want.
That was a really very helpful document. Thank you. It was clear, and the possibilities of where our commission could go in various sectors in terms of outreach was also tremendously helpful. So one question that I've always had about this commission is the subpoena piece, right? Like, we had the first responder training agency on, and then they haven't come back. I would like some clarity as Vice Chair Hall pointed out, we do have someone from the county counselor's office on what really, like if we invite people and they don't come, what's our ability to request information and request them to come and speak? Thanks.
Good morning, Commissioner Fan. Thank you for asking the question. So again, I'm happy to provide you all with more details, but I will point out at this time that your subpoena power comes through the county council according to the ordinance. So some boards and commissions have the power directly to subpoena individuals to appear. But my reading of the ordinance at this time is that you all are able to make requests to the county council to issue subpoenas. So you don't have direct subpoena power. You can request that the county council issue subpoenas on your behalf so that you can speak with individuals, and failure to abide by those subpoenas would become a legal matter for the courts that the county council will be in charge of handling.
Thank you. That is the clearest answer I've gotten.
You're welcome.
Okay, nothing further, I mean, it's easy to keep that as a continuing item on the agenda, just as things happen and need to be responded to. 4.3, Vice Chair Hall wanted to include the letter from May 10, 2022. There you go. Thank you.
Yes, I think it was just important for us to all be aware of this letter and then be aware of the actions that were stated in this letter. And so here we are as a commission that we had the opportunity to actually make some change or have an input on some change that was being made in St. Louis County government. And so it included all of St. Louis County government employees, which are Chairwoman Aristide, you probably know how many, some thousands of employees that St. Louis County has. So we had the opportunity to have a say, some really effective say on how it is county employees will be treated, and to make sure that they're treated fairly when they decide to come up and actually speak about the ill or unethical, immoral, and even illegal behavior that occurs within St. Louis County government. And we know they're not shy of any of those actions. And so in saying that, hopefully we had the opportunity to read the letter that was added on here and all be aware of what's going on, what's happening, and how it seemingly feels as if we kind of failed as a commission, as a whole, not just individuals, but we failed as a commission to actually act on this opportunity that we had, whether it be as a commission speaking at the committee of the wholes, whether it be actually sending some formal communication to Chairwoman Days about the whistleblower bill, or even if it's making sure that she's always invited, or we are reaching out to her as a commission. The communication as a whole just wasn't effective whatsoever. And in turn, what then happened is there was a very long time where county employees were in a bit of a limbo and they had no extra protections from this bill to make sure that they were in a space where they could tell without being retaliated against. So this is once again, and I'm not just trying to sound so pessimistic. I would imagine some people may say that I will pull out a complaint or two oftentimes, but these are rooms for opportunities for us to be better as a commission. And in order to do so, we have to have some self-awareness and know where we are as a commission. And in this particular case, this example was, this letter was a prime example of how we could have done better and we should have done better. And so I think it's very good to read this. I think it was sincere. And while it is not directed towards the commission for sure, so that's not what I'm saying. While it's not directed towards us, we were mentioned in this letter a little bit, and we were mentioned in other letters the Human Relations Commission with Dr. Page, County Executive Page, when using us as an excuse as to why he decided to do a particular action on his own. So if we're being used as an scapegoat, or if we're being used in anybody's, I don't know, just mess period, we should A, be aware, and two, if we don't agree with it, then we kind of need to learn to speak up as a commission. And so that was the purpose of wanting to include this. So like I said, I hope everybody had a chance to read it. If not, please take a moment to read it. And if we need to have further conversations at a later time, we can. Because I know, like I said, we're getting down to 10, a couple minutes down the line. And I'm sure Mr. Murdoch has quite a bit that he would like to tell us as well. So that was my piece on that.
Thank you. Any comments? And by the way, if you need to stay after 11, I'm happy to do that. I think we've set some time in the agenda to be able to go past 11, so no issue there for me. Any thoughts, comments, questions?
Just appreciate that discussion and that share as well, and hopefully with that we'll do better in the future. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
No,
no,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to move on to the next piece if nobody had anything further. So please comment.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, before moving on, I think since Chairwoman Aristide, since you were actually specifically mentioned several times in acting as chair of the commission, or in saying that attempts were being or made to be reached out to you for the commission, at some point, I think it's a little bit, it should be expected, and it would be respectful and professional for you to kind of explain to us at some point, and if you're not prepared to do it now, kind of, hey, your actions as well with this, because you are our chair at this point. And so we're looking for a little bit of leadership or some accountability from not only just the commission, but from you as well, the same way that they do with Chairwoman Days on the council. So if you're not prepared to respond to this now, maybe that can be something that you can do on the next meeting when more commissioners are on here.
You know, I gotta tell you, I went back and forth on this. I mean, my sense was I should just take myself out of it because this really isn't about me per se. And, you know, maybe there's, you know, a reason for me not to respond because the situation itself is resolved. The council has formally voted and Bill 69 is going to the voters to vote. I think I had not only responded to Chairwoman Day's request for information. I'd written to her, emailed to her twice. The first time goes back to January of this year with a CC to Mr. Murdoch as then the acting director of DE&I to sit down and have a meeting. I also spoke to, well, and she had attended our meeting in December of 2021, at which we didn't address the issue specifically because Vice Chair Hall, you had significant and very difficult responsibility at the memorial service for Detective Tony Valentine. So it was not appropriate to bring the issue up then. Had a couple of emails back and forth with Maria Chappelle Nadal in which the chairwoman was CC'd, and I think Maria attended one of our meetings. I'm not positive, it might have been February, not as a participant, simply to observe. And then at the State of the County address, the University of Missouri St. Louis, I actually spoke to the chairwoman directly. This was after Councilwoman Clancy had proposed her bill, which was a bit different, and they were talking about having potential compromise. So I said to the chairwoman at that time, if you're going to compromise, whatever I can do to help, I'm in. And she acknowledged that. But there were no other meetings that formally took place on the issue, certainly not that impacted the decision in the end, because I think the county executive had vetoed the bill more than the original bill. There were a couple of bills in there, but there had been more than one veto. And with Bill 69 going to the voters, it seems that the issue is now moot. I don't want to get pulled in the middle of things as an individual. I don't think it really was about me. I think it was kind of about the politics of the situation. And, you know, if I made anybody angry, it's because the very first bill I thought had trouble. And there is a state statute on whistleblowing. There is a county ordinance on whistleblowing. There has never not been a time in the course of this controversy when employees haven't been protected. Still need to be doing education for staff, no question about that. And clearly there are those employees who will have complaints, and they will be able to access, as Vice Chair Hall has, the legal process in order to resolve those complaints. So maybe it wasn't the finest hour for this commission, maybe with, in Vice Chair Hall's eyes, and maybe with this education that we've done today, and maybe with some thoughtfulness around the role of members, maybe with the new members we have in Commissioners James and Johnson and Pellegrini, maybe we'll get some new insights. And I, for one, am all for it. And maybe with new members approved in the coming months on the vacancies, that'll help as well. So that's going to be my response today. And I look forward to as much innovation as we can do and potential advocacy as is appropriate. Thanks for the opportunity, Jeanette. Okay, item 4.4, Mr. Murdoch, the equity plan.
Yes, and I can go and I can try and be quick because I see the time is
Well, you're okay. Do what you need to. Let me just say I forgot to email you so that you can confirm Commissioner Ahmad, even though she has to be out of this meeting, did agree to be a participant for you.
Okay, good. But I want to do the process kind of this way. So here's what I suggest the equity plan. I suggest on the July 8th meeting, you formally nominate 2 people to join the DEI writing process of the equity plan. Now, why do I suggest the July 8th meeting for the nomination of the 2 people to join the DEI writing plan? Because between them, I would like commissioners who are interested in joining the writing plan to contact me so we can have a one-on-one, so I can outline the somewhat over 20 hours of video you might have to watch, what the writing process might be like, see if you have the type of computer programs you might need on the phone to join in, which probably on your phone, on your laptop to join in for the writing process, which I know you have like WebEx or Zoom because you're on this now. But if you have Word, Microsoft Word, and things like that, I have to check something like that. So I'd like to have one-on-one conversation with commissioners who are interested in joining the writing process. So over the next month, if commissioners who are interested, please contact me so we can sit down and I can talk to you about what the intimate details of the writing process will be like. And then I asked the commission on the July 8th meeting to nominate 2 people and vote on it and formally send 2 people from the commission to work with DEI on the writing of the equity plan. And know this, our timetable is not set in any type of statute or anything like that. So it's more important that we write a quality product than we rush and try and finish a product at a certain timetable. But that's all I have for right now. And if anybody has questions, please, I would like to entertain them.
So I'm not volunteering to write the plan, but I'll be willing to actually have a follow-up conversation with you just to learn more, to see what it looks like and to see if it is something that I might be interested in, but I'm not volunteering right now.
I understand that. So yeah, everyone's welcome. So if everyone wants to take down my email, I know we're not putting things in the chat, so I'll say my email verbally. It's KMURDOCK at St. Louis County, all St. ST, but Lewis County written out, mo.gov. So send me an email and we'll set it at a time that we can over web, we can talk about it. Even if you're just interested in learning the intricacies of the writing process or kind of like who's going to over edit us or who's going to work with the AI, who's going to be in there, feel free to set up a meeting with me and we can talk about the process. If you're just curious about it, that's fine also.
Yeah, I think I would have to echo that a little bit as well too. I would be curious to know what your I'm sorry about that. I was talking. I'll be curious to know what that process looks like after you begin to write it. I would have to agree as well. I think I would actually pass on helping to write it. without sounding extremely blunt, I do think that that is the job, and correct me if I'm wrong, of you and this person and tasked with writing that with the commissioners. So hopefully you all will do very well with that, but understanding, just for the sake of it, understanding afterwards who edits your equity plan, who looks at it, who confirms it, all those different things. I would be curious to learn about that.
Oh, I'm more than willing to sit down and have a one-on-one and kind of tell you what our feelings on that and where it's going at any time. I hear you that you're not necessarily saying you want to be part of the actual writing process, but if you want to set on one-on-one with me to talk about it, you could any given time, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to answer any question.
I am not going to volunteer for that, but I am also curious about the process. I think it's a really cool and unique opportunity. Part of why I am not going to volunteer for that is I had already volunteered to be on the Business Advisory Council. And I would also like to say, if anyone else wants to be on the Business Advisory Council, I do not have to be on the Business Advisory Council. I have so many commitments within our community already. So just before we end, I would like to know what the update on that is, if this section is concluded. Thank you.
That's pretty much all I have. Is contact me and we'll step it off. But
On the old business, and with a responsive segue to Commissioner Fan's question, I think it's on hold. I won't speak for the MWBE program, but right now there are some meetings going on with MWBE staff around the structure of the Business Advisory Council and the underlying ordinance. The person who has the sort of the task on that, the portfolio, is Stephanie Lewis, who is the county executive's director of transformation. And I can invite her to the next meeting, or perhaps by August, there might be some more substance for her to be able to share a little bit about that. But Carolyn, I can let you off the hook for the time being, because I'm not sure how that conversation is going to play out.
Okay. Well, I look forward to whenever, there's action on that. Not gonna say I'm not slightly relieved, because I have plenty of information.
Oh, good for you. Thank you for your candor on that. Okay, the next meeting, Friday, July 8th at 10 a.m. Does anybody have any public comments? We have one person in the queue. Ms. Brooks? Jay, is that somebody who wants to participate? No, she's hung up. Okay. Seeing nobody for public comments, July 8th will be the next meeting. Thank you all for your participation today.
Quick point, Chairwoman Oresti, I just want to note that there have been, two alleged hate crime mass shootings, at least two. It is hard to keep track of all of them, unfortunately. And so I would request that we as a commission have a faster or more expedited process to, if we wish to issue statements, right, in between the months that we meet, because unfortunately these shootings are now occurring all the time, that we somehow figure that piece out, right? Thanks.
Yeah, let's put that on the agenda for next month, to determine the most effective way to have public statements come from us. I guess as an advisory to the county executive's office. I'm not sure, whatever the appropriate process is, given how, because that's one of the things that's not formally stated, in terms of guidance in the enabling. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Real quick before we do, I guess I just want to reiterate one last time that Ms. Britt, I guess, is it correct in assuming that we can receive the updates for you on the next commission meeting regarding the language around resident versus citizen, and then the Commissioner Fan, what was the second anything that you were looking for?
You mean just now or previously?
No, no, previously. It just slipped my mind that fast.
It also
I
just
believe
slipped
I
my
answered, good morning, everyone. I believe I answered Commissioner Fan's question regarding subpoena powers,
Okay, so you have
Oh, yes.
clarification on it.
You
Okay,
already.
did very well and very clearly. Thank you.
perfect. I wasn't
Thank you,
sure if you
Commissioner.
received all it is that you needed. I was just making sure that we had that was addressed and could be looking forward. We're all on the same page as far as what we're looking forward to next month.
Yes, and I can tell all the commissioners now that the language in your charging ordinance is citizen. So I'm happy to talk with Chairwoman Rusty about what potential steps the commission might be able to take in terms of discussing changes in language with the council, and can relay that information to you all.
Yeah, you know, it'd be interesting to look at how many times the word citizen comes up just globally in the ordinances, because one of the last significant changes that was made on language around non-discrimination and broad inclusion, Councilwoman Clancy, you know, had sort of a very large global proposal that ended up impacting language across county ordinances, and maybe there's a role there for looking at it that way too.
Yes, if that's something the commission decides that they would like to present to the county council, then certainly the council will be working with my office to see if there's changes that can be made throughout the St. Louis County revised ordinances.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, that is something that would have to be on the advice of you all, the commissioners, to the council. Yes.
Right. Understood. Okay, it is 11:03, a motion to adjourn
Motioned.
So move.
and second. Thank you. Be safe, have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, everybody. Have a
See
good
you
week.
all.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jay.